Oh, here comes trouble. Here comes the danger. All right. Welcome to the weekly live stream on Thursday, November the 17th, 2022. All right. So we got some stuff on deck here tonight. Please, if you hear me, hit me in the comment section. Say what's up. How y'all doing? We got a lot to talk about tonight. Gonna be a lot going on. So next week, for the record, we're gonna do a little bit of a preview. Next week is Thanksgiving. I will not be trying to put together a show unless there's some big news happens. I'm probably going to just do a Q&A next week, and whoever shows up because I do have to go to work that day. So it sucks. I got to work on the holiday. That's trash. How many pages should a chapter have? As many as the author wants them to have. I've seen chapters that are 2 pages. I've seen chapters that are half a page. It depends on what you're trying to convey in that chapter. So it's definitely up to you. That's one thing about being a writer and liking the art of writing. There really are no rules. As much as people try to make rules about writing, there really aren't any rules. You make it up as you go along. So make rules about writing. You just make it up as you go along. You just do your thing, and whatever happens, happens. People have played with sentence structure, punctuation. They play with everything. Just do you and see how that works out. All right. So, some of the subjects that we have. Tyrus. It's not over. It ain't over. People still have some bad feelings about this Tyrus thing. Well, we're going to talk about the new Dragon Ball arc on Sunday. We're going to talk about that Sunday night. It is going to be absolute. It's going to be interesting because I haven't really thought too much about it after I heard that it wasn't going to be Dragon Ball Super. I was kind of confused, and I really didn't think too much on it after that. So I would definitely have to get back to it. So we'll get to it eventually. But we're definitely going to be talking about Tyrus for a little bit. Then we're going to talk about Scotty too Hotty deleting his Twitter account. Yes, we're going to be talking about Nose Man trying to bring in more dweebs. This time, Thick Boy. Jesus, the almighty Thick Boy. The guy with the body of a wrestler but the brain of a swimsuit model. I can't stand that fucking guy. I shouldn't have said the F word so far. We're gonna talk about your boy Tony Khan and his desire to pretend that everybody is dumb when it comes to him booking FTR. And his repeated no comments on CM Punk. And some of the various other things, various and sundry things that we're going to discuss. But it is a very real, very serious episode, of course. As always, a very real, very serious episode of our live stream. So let's deal with it with all the professionalism it deserves. So where should we start? Should we start with the cover story? We're going to start with Tyrus. Is that where we have to start? I guess so. I actually want to find out. I want to find this. I just literally put in this put in this thing into the Google machine, and this just popped up, and I honestly need time to ingest this, and I wish I had taken it because this sounds like it might be funny. So, but we're not going to get the opportunity to really cover this the way I want to, because apparently Booker T had a hilarious response to Tyrus becoming the world champion. But I didn't see the video, and the video is not up yet, from what I understand. So we're not going to be able to get that. But let's start with Billy Corgan. And Billy Corgan is out here sprinkling coke all over the place. He's got a nose full of coke because he got a lot of backlash for the shittiness of his world champion and for the main event of Hard Times. And he came right out of the event, pretty upset, and told people that he intends to keep doing this. So here's what Billy Corgan had to say. Well, first of all, it's been very hard for the general wrestling community to understand to me, the NWA is a mainstream product. I want to bring back the traditional mainstream wrestling product to television, national television or international television. It's not complicated in terms of the vibe. I like that old shooter vibe. I want you to watch people that you can believe can beat your ass. That's it. I want the toughest to win. And I want the toughest to feel like they're the stars of our company. It's interesting because as I've pivoted to that over the last 18 months and really built the company around the toughest people, not always the biggest, but the toughest people, I really see how it's starting to really click. In essence, I finally, that passion that I had for Bruiser when I was a kid to the modern version of the NWA. A lot of the people in the wrestling community, and I know it's a hotly debated topic, they like what's going on with, I call it the 8-star Meltzer matches and all that stuff. I like that stuff too. But if we're just talking business, straight business, not fan stuff, I still believe in Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. In this upcoming main event, Matt Cardona, who's recast himself on the independent scene as a star that he is, versus Tyrus, who's 6'8", 375 pounds, versus Trevor Murdoch, who's 6'3", 350 pounds. I want to see that match. If you don't want to see stuff like that, don't watch the NWA, because that's what I'm going to give you more and more of that. As we climb and I'm able to kind of develop younger talent in the mold of the NWA, we will be the toughest, hardest hitting wrestling promotion in the world. I know that there's strong style in Japan, but to me, that's a different psychological, hard to explain. I don't mean it disrespectfully. It's just a different psychology. I make the argument we probably have the toughest women in the business. Do I really want to go into this women's stuff? No, I don't. Let's just talk about his Tyrus, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Now, do I understand where he's coming from? You want to have world champions that you can believe will beat your ass. I get that. I fully get it. There's nothing worse than seeing some 180-pound twink that you probably could push into a locker, or you use his head to mop the floor, as a world champion and supposedly the toughest, best fighter in the entire locker room. That said, Tyrus is a big fat rhinoceros who looks like he got hit by a train and survived and limped away. Tyrus is one of the worst wrestlers to ever put on a pair of boots. And now he's 50 years old and he's absolute basura. Okay? He's bat guano in the ring. Okay? Man's not good. Man's bad. All right? Man's bad. I don't give a damn how big he is. He looked like he been wading in molasses. He looks like he got that Olga syrup. Like your grandma might have had. Your grandma might have Olga syrup that you turn that bottle upside down and you ain't gonna get them pancakes covered in syrup till the next morning. That's, man, this is not good. This is not good. This dude he's awful. He's awful. Now, of course, the moment Tyrus showed up on Fox News with the NWA World title, everybody kept talking about, oh, this is exactly what Billy wanted. He wanted him to go on Fox News with the title and get millions of people to see it. A one-star frog splash. How dare you even call it a one-star frog splash? How dare you even call it a frog splash? That guy is not a frog. He's a Gila monster. It is a 0-star Gila monster falling from the top rope and trying not to break his damn ankles. I'm surprised he didn't break his ankles. I'm surprised he didn't break the ring. All right. That's where you do one of those ring exploding spots. I mean, this guy is just so goddamn awful. He's so bad. He's bad on a biblical scale. He's like Bahamut bad. He's like Leviathan bad. You know, like I just don't get it. That he has zero redeeming qualities. It's just not good. It's not good on a whole different scale that I can possibly like. No matter what I think about Thick Boy, at least he's got some mobility to him. He might be soft in the brain, he might be soft in the heart, soft in the stomach. You know, you might want to check his gut health, but ultimately, at least the guy can do the moves. You know, Tyrus cannot do the moves. Tyrus has no mobility. My 63-year-old obese mama moves like Tyrus. Okay? And she's off and on a walking stick and a cane and stuff. This does not make sense for him to be the world champion of anything outside of some fantasy fed in his own basement. Billy Corgan is out of his goddamn mind. But it's his money. He's paying for it. All right. How dare he? How dare he compare Tyrus to Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley? Yes, we want to see titans of industry, guys who are in great shape and have mobility. Like Brock might be lazy, but Brock will show you when he hit the ropes what he can do. You could be very disappointed he's not going to do more because he doesn't need to do more. But for Christ's sake, look at Brock Lesnar and look at how he can move. Look at how he can jump. He has fun in the ring. All right? It's fun watching Brock. It's not fun watching Tyrus. Man, Tyrus would probably lose a food eating contest. That's how worthless he is. All right? He probably eats slow too. This guy is enormous for no reason. Fat all over. And all the way bad. He's just flat out rotten, as Jim Cornette called it. He's just flat out fucking rotten. All right? There's just no way to fix this bad. This is so bad, you can't fix it. If this was like a leak in your house or a leak in the roof, you just have to get a new house. All right? We just have to get a new Tyrus. Got to get a new person. It's going to have to be like surrogates. You have to get a special body made. He had to sit in his goddamn dressing room or something like that with a VR kit on his head, driving around a goddamn meat wagon or something like that. You just can't fix this. This dude is awful. Why would you even try to? This dude's bad. This guy sucks. What is wrong with Billy Corgan? What is he snorting? Is he snorting the pumpkins? He's not smashing them anymore. He's snorting them now. Snorting pumpkin pits. This dude's fucking dumb. All right. All right. I gotta get off my chest. God damn, Billy Corgan. What the hell is wrong with you? At least he's wasting his own money. I'm not even gonna be mad at him. He's wasting his own money. Do your thing, boy. So I'm gonna try to find this Booker T response. But this was ridiculous. Booker T Booker T was asked by his co-host Brad Gilmore to name his favorite Tyrus match, to which Booker T responded, whichever one was the quickest. Shucky ducky quack quack. Shucky ducky quack quack. That's in my fave five. Oh, my fave five. That's for sure. Oh, good Lord. So, of course, Tyrus himself decided he was... Tyrus himself tweeted out shortly after his victory. what he had to say about being world champion. I know what the woke haters trolls cheer for. Their boos and hate builds my self-esteem, gives me focus, makes me strong. I'll keep winning. Y'all keep watching the New York Times best-selling author, #1 late night show, and new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Oh, oh my Lord. Good God. I'm a woke hater troll because I don't like Tyrus. It ain't possible at all that Tyrus could possibly suck wind. That ain't possible. It ain't entirely possible that this motherfucker moves with all the graceful bookshelf. That ain't real. I must be a woke hater. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. God, what the fuck? What the hell? Tyrus. Tyrus the virus. Good Lord. I left my water bottle. Christ's sake. This is bad. This is always bad. Oh, man. If I actually cared about the NWA, I'd be depressed. Tyrus sucks so bad. Oh, man. Yeah, this dude's 50 years old on Twitter. God damn, calling people the woke haters. What the fuck are you talking about? Shit. Tyrus moves like he was hippopotamus. Shit. What the fuck? Oh, God. He was land whale. Yeah, that motherfucker is 50. He 50 as fuck. He's an old man. And he wades on land. I don't get it. I don't get Tyrus, man. I don't understand this guy. It's funny, but I don't get it. It's funny, but I don't understand him. I really don't. So, in an interesting move, I actually have an article. This is from John Powell of Slam Wrestling. Now, this is called Tyrus's Politics Should Mean Nothing in the Ring. So this is why I had this as our central topic for the episode, because I have so much on this. Because a lot of the people who don't like Tyrus because of his politics. I am of the opinion that I don't want to watch a guy who's built like a washing machine wrestle a match. I just ain't interested. But this guy is. Wait a minute. Now, why would Darren Miles do this shit? Man, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. I worked a 12-hour shift, and then I come here after I have my chicken sandwich, and then all of a sudden, people like Darren Miles show up and start thrusting these kinds of things upon me. I have to make a decision between Big Show and Tyrus. Can you just give me the cyanide capsule? I want the Canadian healthcare option where they just put my ass to sleep permanently. I don't want to watch. The only thing worse than this is it's a Big Show Tyrus tag team. You know, not even them wrestling each other, because them wrestling each other, I'll fall asleep on that. All right, I'll definitely fall asleep on that. But then as a tag team would be even worse, because there'd be the threat of the other two guys actually being good. This is just going to be nothing but bad. 100% pure bad. I don't care about either one of these guys. Now, oddly enough, I actually believe Big Show can move faster than Tyrus. You know, I've seen Tyrus try to run. It's nauseating. If you can even call that running. If you can even call that trying. No, Tyrus is on Fox News. Tyrus is, and that's what we're about to talk about right here. Because John Powell of Slam Wrestling is about to talk about Tyrus and why his politics shouldn't matter. You should hate Tyrus because he's 50 years old with his hat turned backwards. And he's built like an oak tree. That's why you should not like him. All right, it says, before he starts talking early about how he's a centrist and he doesn't believe in the left and the right and all that stuff. He said the political climate is very different here in Canada. For one thing, we have more than two official parties. For another, our parties tend to hug the middle so as to play to the mainstream. That essentially means that everybody in Canada is some flavor of socialist. So I'm sorry. Even the socialists are fucking right wing in Canada and in Europe. It doesn't make sense to be a right winger in Europe. That means you still support the fucking healthcare system. You still support the fucking high taxes and all that other nonsense. You just don't want as much of it. It's ridiculous. Let's not get into that though. I'll try not to get too much into politics. I just want to talk about Tyrus. So he says, put NWA putting its world championship on Tyrus a hard time 3. You know, the dude who used to break it down in the middle of WWE ring with the Funkadactyls as Brodus Clay, went on to host shows on Fox News, is bringing on gasps, eeks, and yikes from some. You see, that's the issue some have with Tyrus. It is his political beliefs. It is not whether he is a draw or not. It is not whether he paid his dues or not. It is not whether he deserves it or not. For them, it comes down to who he voted or votes for. I agree, Dion McC. I agree. I don't care about what a wrestler votes for unless they make it pretty obvious that they want to hurt or harm some people or they supported rioting or some shit like that. I don't really care who people vote for. I really don't. Loosely translated, they believe Tyrus shouldn't represent the company. Tyrus shouldn't succeed in his career. Tyrus shouldn't even earn more money for his family. Shouldn't be permitted to essentially be a part of the quote American dream because of which box he happens to put an X beside at the ballot box. There should be a limit to what he can or cannot do, can or cannot achieve. I 100% like this, the take that John Powell is having here. To say somebody cannot take care of their family, has no right to go further in their career because you personally don't like their politics is an interesting one. Again, this doesn't have any. I just spent 20 minutes talking about how terrible Tyrus is, all right? But if he needs to take care of his family, I'm okay with that. I don't want his kids to starve because he's a bad wrestler. I want him to stop wrestling because he's a bad wrestler. Find some other way of doing this, okay? But it's John Powell continues. If he happened to check what they believe is the right box, most of Tyrus's critics wouldn't have a problem with him being the face of the NWA. This is when you know America's obsession with making politics their favorite pastime has gone too far. And this is all coming from me, someone who has never been a fan of Tyrus in the ring or of Fox News, ever. Tyrus was pretty decent in Impact Wrestling. I will give him that. I mean, really? Really? I don't know, man. I don't know about that one, brother. One of those who opposes Tyrus's reign is Nick Aldis. He is so incensed that he wants to leave the NWA at the end of his contract. Yes, he is willing to sacrifice his wrestling career, his way of making a living to feed his family, because he doesn't like who Tyrus would vote for, even though that has nothing to do with his wrestling persona. Think about that. He is going to quit his job because of one title reign by one wrestler. That's a good point. You know, that's a good point. Now, Nick Aldis said, quote, I hope you now see why it was important to me to let you know that I had given my notice to the NWA before this pay-per-view. What was once a promising endeavor that I turned down bigger opportunities to take lead on has become the most toxic brand in pro wrestling. Thank you all for your support. Nick Aldis, who has wanted to go to WWE, where Vincent Kennedy McMahon you don't want to work with Republicans? You don't want to work with Republicans? And you want to work with Vince McMahon? Well, look, Vince McMahon is a Northeast Republican, like I tell people all the time. They're not the typical Republicans that you guys would think of. Northeast Republicans tend to be a lot more liberal than middle of the country or Southern Republicans. So they tend to be okay on the gay marriage stuff and a lot of the social junk that people want. Think about that. Vince McMahon was a Republican when you got the Attitude Era, which was everybody hate the boss, which is basically blue collar left wing politics, and the sexual revolution with Sable and all those guys, like all that stuff was very progressive for its time, And Vince was a Republican at the time. In fact, remember he sent The Rock to the Republican National Convention, and that's where the whole thing started with L. Brent Bozell and the parents' councils, and all them people started attacking WWF because they were starting to invade the Republican space. But it was also because it was also the Republicans trying to shut them down, the Democrats too. These things aren't as cut and dry as people would have them be. And Nick Aldis wanted to go work for that man. The man who put his wife on screen and had her be Piggy James. That was great, by the way. I maintain that Piggy James ruled. That was a pretty good storyline. Punk is on a roll. It's on some kind of roll. I wish Tyrus would roll the fuck out of the business. So back to John Powell. He says the most toxic brand in pro wrestling. He says in a world where WWE and XPW exist. WWE is toxic since when? Funny how with all their storylines and angles before NWA were never toxic to Aldis. No problem at all until Tyrus became world champion. Why does Aldis believe that he has the right to dictate terms to the owner of NWA, Billy Corgan? Why does he think he can decide the direction of the company? That is like an actor telling a director or a producer what to do or what film to make. Aldis also somehow thinks that by cutting his nose off to spite his face, that other companies would think twice about hiring him when he does business like this and makes decisions like this. I really like that he's going hard on Nick Aldis. I like that. But to push back on John Powell a little bit, when Nick Aldis, and I keep using this analogy, Nick Aldis was the quarterback of this team, right? He is the quarterback of the team. He's the LeBron James of the NWA. LeBron James picks his own teammates. He picks his coach, Just like the best player on the team, they're going to give the thumbs up or the thumbs down on coaches, on trades, on pretty much everything. It might not be public, but they definitely back there making a decision. They're basically saying, look, if you want to keep me around, this guy goes or I go. Guys like Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Michael Jordan, they do that shit all the time. Either he goes or I go. Either you change this direction or I leave, or whatever the case may be. Top stars, they have this kind of power. Nick Aldis truly believed that he was a top star for the NWA, and thus he should have this power. Whether you agree or not is something rather different. Okay? So he says plenty of other companies also have champions who are Democrats or are Republicans or anything in between. Will Nick Aldis stomp his feet, take his ball home if they rise to become the face of the promotion too? Even though their political beliefs never enter the roles in front of the cameras? Furthermore, are we to assume that Aldis will no longer watch any TV show or movie featuring Kelsey Grammer, Tim Allen, James Woods, Clint Eastwood, or Dennis Quaid? Are we to assume that Aldis will never, ever work for WWE due to their very close ties with that clown Donald Trump, Republicans like Ron DeSantis, or that the WWE has prominently featured people like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the past? Arnold Schwarzenegger is a West Coast Republican, which is the same as being a coastal New York Republican. Arnold Schwarzenegger was okay with gay marriage. Of course, he banged illegal immigrants and had kids with them. All kinds of stuff, right? So again, Republicans are not all equal, right? There's a certain strand of libertarianism in certain elements of the Republican Party. It's also in Democrats too. DMAC is not a fan of Tyrus. I do find it funny that people who usually ignore NWA are chiming in on this. It's so easy to keep on ignoring them. I agree with that. There's a lot of people who never talked about NWA, but they're talking about NWA now. And maybe that was the goal. But is it really a positive? Or is it a controversy creates cash situation? I think that's all left to be desired, left to be answered, rather. It says if all of this anger comes from Tyrus being accused of sexual harassment, will he not work for WWE or AEW because Mike Tyson was convicted of rape? I mean, if he were a man of such principles that he is willing to quit his job over them, then he will follow through in all aspects of his life and career, wouldn't he? We wait with bated breath. Seeking to clarify his comments, Alden said, I'm not trying to get into the political stuff. That's not interesting to me. Politics in this country is very, very split, very divided. And I'm a centrist. However, I feel that as a brand, you should do your best to be apolitical as well. And that's not really the meat of the matter. It's more about the audience having been telling them one thing for a long time, and Billy especially has been disregarding them and doing the complete opposite, almost out of spite. Now, Billy and Nick have both had this conversation, and Nick Aldis continues to beat the drum that NWA's audience is 100% against Tyrus, 100% against this new direction, that the company is bleeding viewers, they're not selling tickets, and all of this is proof that the Tyrus experiment will not work, and him not being champion will not work. But how much of that is, again, him trying to get Billy Corgan to submit to him and his will rather than doing the right thing? I don't know. D-Mac says, in the end, I watch the product of companies for what it is. The politics of the folks involved don't impact me one way or the other, to be honest. Unless they bring it on screen, I really don't care. Or it becomes a big deal on Twitter and I see it. I really don't care. Like, if it wasn't for Hangman Page and CM Punk wearing shirts and doing stuff on AEW TV, I really wouldn't be tripping too much. Same thing with like New Day or whatever. Like, I mentioned Mia Yim kind of campaigning for Black Lives Matter and trying to do the bail fund thing on Twitter, but she didn't do it on TV. You know, it wasn't part of her on-screen character, but she certainly used her WWE platform to push politics, which I don't think was the right thing to do. Remember when, what's that guy, the Forgotten Son? He got roasted by Kevin Owens and all of them for bringing his WWE stuff into his politics, and now people then did it all the time, you know? So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Let's go back to the article. So talk about speaking out of both sides of your mouth. All it says politics doesn't matter to him, but doesn't think NWA is apolitical because they elevated Tyrus. Again, funny how Aldis didn't think that NWA was doing anything wrong when they made Cody their champion, a man who hasn't danced around his political views in the past, and said he would like to run for the Senate in the great state of Georgia. Of course, Cody wants to be a politician. Do you see his fake teeth? Them veneers, baddest veneers in all the land, next to Romans. As a Canadian, all this decision makes as much sense to me as the owner of an American restaurant not serving customers because they are Republicans, or a cake shop not serving a customer because they are a transgender. That latter part is not true. That person could have went in there and bought a cake. The guy just didn't want to make a cake celebrating transgenderism. Funny how much these kinds of stories get out there in the media and they just float around and they get lives of their own, whether they're true or not. Nobody really takes time to think about it. People just assume it's true. The notion of mixing business and politics is foreign to me, and I would hazard to guess most Canadians too. I agree, though. I agree. I think most Canadians wouldn't care. I have worked with and am friends with people of all political backgrounds, and all I care about is that they are people, good people at heart, are fantastic colleagues, and don't think Rob Zombie's The Munsters was a masterpiece. I mean, you've got to draw the line somewhere, right? So he says, what is also odd is that there are some people who cannot for the life of them separate the art from the artist, especially when it comes to actors and wrestlers. When I saw Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick, I saw Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell. I didn't see the guy who jumped up and down like a crazy man on Oprah's couch. When The Undertaker kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, I didn't demand that Mark Calloway be arrested immediately. And what's this fear of people having a platform to voice their opinions or people being able to hear different points of view and making their own minds up anyways? In a world I grew up in, vigorous debate was encouraged and was a sign of healthy democracy. See, that's a completely different conception. You know, people don't want the world that they grew up in. They want a better world. The grass is always greener. Tomorrow is always better than today. Without any effort, it should be better than today. And any effort should strive for perfection. And anybody who decides that, perfection ain't for me, at least your perception of perfection ain't for me, they should lose their jobs and be made homeless. D-Max says, bottom line, Tyrus was a terrible choice for champ. That's because he isn't all interesting as a character and he can barely move. Yeah, his movement is a question. It's man, he's worse than Andre at WrestleMania 3. I mean, at least Andre could get up for the body slam. I don't think Tyrus could get up for the body slam at this point. Plus, I don't see any D-Mac doesn't see any viable contenders for Tyrus in the pipeline. Maybe Sion. They're gonna have to unmask that guy. I have no idea who he is. He's the shit. Let's go back to this article. Silencing people because they don't agree with you. Deplatforming them seems to be the stuff of Fahrenheit 451 of George Orwell's 1984. Why are some people who are confident in the stance that they have taken so afraid of free thoughts, freedom of expression, dissenting voices, and ideas that are challenging their own? All of this over wrestling, a form of entertainment which most people in the mainstream don't take seriously to begin with. It makes you wonder, eh? I agree. And I think this was a fantastic article. This is fantastic. This was really good. I think he did a great job here. Good job, Jason Powell. He did good. I agree, though. Most people in the mainstream, most people who watch Fox News and stuff like that, they're going to look at that belt and laugh. And they say, oh, this guy's a wrestling champion. Okay, that's cool. They may, in the southern belt of the United States, they might think that that's actually cool because the NWA is big in the South. So maybe that was the pitch. Fox News is big in the South. NWA is big in the South. Maybe if you can get some of those old people to think that, hey, this is the old time NWA, and this guy is the champion there. I don't know. Lord Kratos, come on, man. Come on, man. Take that back. Take that back. Take it back. I'm gonna give you a chance to take it back. Take it back. I wouldn't care if he was Zack Ryder and not Matt Cardona. Take it back. Take it back, man. Jesus H. Christ. Why is Elijah Burke not world champion? I don't know. Maybe because everybody knows he's just doing Dusty. And everybody sees the Pope Elijah Burke. He has the hard times put upon him. And he's just doing his best Dusty impersonation. Everybody might like that. Lord Kratos doubling down that's gutsy. That's a gutsy move. Lord Kratos doubling down is gutsy. That takes balls. Elijah got the personality and he has the history with Tyrus over the TV title. He could work. Girl Raw, that company has zero buzz and aren't making any new guys. Just early 2000s ghosts of WWE developmental. That's been the problem. That's the huge problem right there. All three of the guys that were in the main event of their pay-per-view were in WWE developmental in 2004. All of them. It's all of them. All of them. I was like, damn. Shit. Trevor Murdoch is an old one. Like he's a that's a push. That's way back there. But yeah, they had Tyrus on the roster for a long time too. It's They're not even trying, man. The thing is that the young people are out there. And the weird thing is now that they've done this Tyrus thing, and I meant to talk about this, but the sad part is there's going to be a lot of young wrestlers that are going to be off put from NWA, and they're probably going to not take a booking from them because of this. Because it's going to be like CYN. You know, CYN became a place where if you worked there, you essentially got canceled. You know, and that's what you know. It made it difficult for them to recruit because once you get labeled sort of political, especially right-wing political, it's kind of over for you. Who are they going to recruit to stay on the roster? It was a similar thing when they started talking about the women, and people were like, "Well, I have a hard time believing that any of the women are going to continue wanting to be booked by NWA," and that has yet to be seen. We don't know what kind of response the women are going to have. So it's tough, but it's a good question. Is this going to affect their ability to recruit? That's going to affect their ability to go further in the future. Just something to think about. It's Jesus Christ. PJ Black gonna pop up in NWA. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they got an ECW 2010 roster. I'm telling you, bro. Rodney Mack is on this roster. All right, he's under a hood. It's Rodney Mack. That dude was in WWE in 2003. All right, so that dude is old. All right, he's old. I want the NWA to succeed. I want them to grow, but Corgan ain't the one. He's gotta hire some people, man. He can finance the joint, but he's gotta let somebody else book it. I can't believe Heath Slater's getting the push that he's getting an Impact. I have no idea what's making people push WWE mid-carders and not even see when TNA was pushing like Mr. Kennedy. It was like a guy that was right there, you know, a guy that was very, very close to being in the main event. Christian was another one. God, right there, so close. But when you start pulling in guys who ain't got nowhere near the main event and we're going to push them to the top, come on, man. I don't know about that one, dog. I don't get it. Oh, Deuce and Domino. I wonder if are they even still around? Do they continue to wrestle? Deuce and Domino were hilarious. Manu. I think I saw something from him recently. I think he trained in his nephews or his cousins or something like that to get in the business. But there's more NOYEs coming, for the record. We've seen them already. There's some in MLW too. Yeah, Kennedy should have been the one. He fucked that up himself by getting into it with like Sean and Orton and stuff. He was never going to make it at that point. Two of the biggest shitheads of all time, and they both didn't like Kennedy. So he wasn't going to make it. The skies were dark for him. I love James Storm. He's not in the best shape. He's going to start doing real estate. But I love James Storm, man. James Storm rules. If it was James Storm at 50 years old becoming world champion, I would actually be making excuses and like, yo, that's my dude. Let's let them have it, you know. But this is fucking Tyrus, man. Get the fuck out of here. I can't even imagine doing something like this. Why would you do this? Why would you do this to yourself? Why would you do this to your fans, the people who want to give you money? Why would you want to do that? We like you. And then, well, we liked you until you decided to do this. Now I want Billy Corgan's head on a stick. Fuck him. Man, who is this? We need to have a Pam Grier appreciation night. I just saw something I can't talk about it right now though. But we need to talk about Pam Grier one day. I love Pam. I love Pam Grier. I do. But I love James Storm. James Storm is great. He worked OVW recently. Oh yeah, I haven't caught up. I fell off the end of OVW a long time ago. I definitely need to catch up. When they created that Kentucky belt, I kind of was like, oh boy, we got a lot going on now, brother. And that's when it was kind of over. Bam Neely? Are you serious? Oh my word. Oh no. Oh no. All right. Oh no. Okay, we talked about Tyrus. Let's move on to Tony Khan and this goofy ass conference call, in which he gave nobody nothing, as usual. I don't understand why we even talking to this fucking guy. The media needs to boycott Tony Khan until he starts talking about stuff. But let's get to this. I'm not going to read any of the tweets. I'm just going to go to Figure 4 online, Wrestling Observer newsletter online. Man, Cashflow, he's a fat dude, man. He's a fat guy. He looks like a old wrestler for sure. I definitely need to catch up on OVW. But I've stayed on top of reality and wrestling, and I'm starting to catch up on MLW. At least I think I have. For some odd reason, Richards has not won the title yet on MLW, but he defended the belt at the NWA show, and they haven't aired that he was a champion yet. Did he forget? More to the point, did Court Bauer forget? Yeah, he should have stripped Thunder Rosa when she was gonna be gone longer than a month. She should have got stripped. Talking about she couldn't walk. Get the hell out of here. All right, let's get into this Tony Khan portion of this thing. Khan was asked if he knew about what Punk was going to say during his post All Out press conference rants that saw him rip on the EVPs, and why didn't he stop them? Khan said he didn't know what Punk was going to say and that he couldn't comment beyond that. He added that he was focused on those wrestlers that were coming up after Punk, like Swerve and Our Glory, following their title match against the Acclaimed. After his comments, there was a fight backstage in Punk's locker room that involved himself, Ace Steel, the Bucks, and Omega. Steel was eventually fired from the company, while the Bucks and Omega will make their first live stream appearance at Full Gear. So this doesn't seem like a really good write-up of what he said, because I've seen tweets that are better than this. Let's take a look at it. As a matter of fact, it says TK. Well, this is a Wrestling Observer newsletter. Asked about whether CM Punk will return, TK said he can't comment about that, but has nothing but good things to say about his contributions to AEW. So the running gag is, I was sitting there nodding to what CM Punk said, visibly reacting to what CM Punk said, and I wasn't listening. I was thinking about other people who were coming up. That's his excuse. He didn't stop him because he was thinking about other people who were going to be coming up. So he just sat there and let CM Punk say whatever he wanted. He didn't even put energy into thinking about what CM Punk was going to say. I am deeply concerned. I don't believe that shit for a minute. I really don't. Tony Khan's full of shit. All right? It's pretty clear that he's full of shit. It's pretty fucking clear that he's full of shit. Right? He didn't have the guts to stop CM Punk from saying whatever he wanted to say. This stuff is not going to go anywhere until people start getting answers. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about the brawl out situation. I think it's been talked about to death. But until people get answers, we won't know what's going on. Oh yeah, Thunder Rosa, she paralyzed for some odd reason. She got struck by lightning. She got a splinter, and all of a sudden she couldn't walk. It's like, okay, then why is she still the champion? Like, she walked up, she showed up in a body cast. Like, the crazy thing is, she said on Dynamite, after her Dynamite promo, where she had to talk about retiring or sitting down or whatever, she talked about how she could barely stand up for that promo. I was like, and Tony Khan still was like, yeah, you're going to be the world champion, and you're going to continue being world champion until I decide you're not. Hey, get your funky ass up out of here, man. Nobody take that shit seriously. Clearly, there's something in the game. There's something wrong here. Okay? There's a problem here. Fix it. My voice is better than the guy who was on Dynamite. That mock guy, I should have did the voiceover. I didn't want to diss the guy for doing too much work and everything, but he did his best. It can't all be good impressionists. Lord Kratos is from the future. Mike Knox, oh God, he's better than Tyrus. I'm not even gonna hold you up. Mike Knox is better than Tyrus. I would rather have Mike Knox than Tyrus. I would rather have Bubba Ray Dudley than Tyrus. And I think that's the direction we're going in, if we're being honest. I think we want to go Bully Ray Tyrus. I think that's the direction they're going, personally. They're going to double back to Bully Ray. That's what I'm thinking. And I would rather he be world champion than Tyrus. And he's older than Tyrus. But at least he can do the stuff. But also, they got Bully Ray and Impact. So, who knows? Tessa Blanchard or CM Punk, who do you think is, or who do you pick as toxic to be around in the locker room? Well, they both are. Tessa Blanchard apparently is a racist. CM Punk is just a dipshit, an ego, a narcissist. I think if I had to choose one, it would probably be Punk, and it would probably be on a basis where I don't have to see him every week. I don't have to see him all the time. Maybe give him a Brock Lesnar schedule where he shows up once every quarter, and that's pretty much it. We don't get a chance to get on each other's nerves, and we don't get a chance to him to really be toxic towards the locker room. You get him in a situation where he comes in, he waves like the queen, he turns around, goes right back out the door. And that's just kind of it. The crowd gets to see him, they get to chant, they get to clap, he gets to cut a promo, he wrestles somebody, that's it. And we call it a day. He's not doing any press tours for us. He's not. No, you're not doing any of that crap. But Tessa Blanchard, you have to build that brand all over again. It's too difficult. Now, she was very, very young when she did this stuff, which you could use as an excuse that she was basically a fucking kid. But at the same time, what can you? She has burned every bridge. They gave her another chance, and then she burnt that bridge too. The WOW. She burnt the WOW bridge. So now she pissed off everybody. She can't get her foot in the door anywhere now. Yeah, Tony Khan is never going to discuss anything revolving around the elites, CM Punk, none of that. So he's never going to talk about that shit. Seeing why anybody continues to talk about it is beyond me. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that anybody continues to discuss this subject. Tony Khan is not going to say anything about it. I mean, I understand that you have to ask, but he's not going to talk about it. What they should do, and they're probably prepared for it, is just start asking wrestlers how they fought. Like they can have a scrum after Full Gear. Soon as like Jericho get on stage, I'm like, Jericho, what did you think when CM Punk was ripping into the elite? What did you think about that? I would just ask random wrestlers until Tony Khan talks about it. Hey, Dante Martin, what did you think? Lee Moriarty, hey, this is Mongo Slade from 3 Count Commentaries. What do you think about what CM Punk had to say about the Young Bucks? I'll just ask random wrestlers all the time. I just keep doing it. Eventually, somebody's going to give me something. I'm going to ask somebody. And somebody's going to go on record. Hold on. The Coog has a lot of stuff here. It's probably some stuff I don't know that much about. Yeah, Tony Storm won't stop sending shots at Thunder Rosa, man. She don't like Thunder Rosa. I don't know why. I guess we'll see one day. We'll figure it out. He said Tom from Tom and Jerry is healthier than Thunder Rosa. Oh God, Thunder Rosa made us believe that she was in a wheelchair. She was in traction. You know, she had to learn how to walk all over again. It's like, oh, come on. Like I was Frankenstein 2 weeks ago, and now I'm getting closer. I'm getting limber. I'm doing limbo. Like, get your ass out of here. You suck. The Kook says, let's talk about how Bushi Road, New Japan, and Cyberfight DDT put it into NXT Japan, and the Luderoth family of CMLL and the Pina Roldan families of AAA put it into NXT Mexico. Just stop that crap cold. Well, I'll tell you this. Mexico is a third world country. If WWE wants to get into Mexico, there is nothing AAA or CMLL can do about it. They have the money. Now, Japan is a little bit different because the government owns a lot of the arenas. So there's not a lot you can do. But the corrupt government of Mexico and a lot of these corrupt institutions that they have in Mexico, money can fix a lot of those problems. WWE has never really fully invested in Mexico. And I think that one day they probably will. They're looking at Europe first. I don't know why they're looking at Europe first when Mexico is literally right there. But AAA has been on the chopping block a couple of times. CMLL is pretty strong. It's not. It's got so much history to it, but it's. I don't think they can stop it. I don't think they can stop it. If they wanted to do it, they could do it. I don't think they can stop it. All they gotta do is pay people not in pesos, pay them in real American money, and you'll see a lot of top guys leave Mexico. Or they'll just move over to this promotion because they won't have to leave the country if they have an NXT Mexico. They won't have to leave the country. So they could just move. And then they'll have a built-in TV audience. They won't have to rely on Mexican TV. They could use the network and NBC and WWE. I'm telling you, if they really wanted to get into Mexico, they could. Now, Japan, because those are big companies in Japan, they might be able to block some of that shit, but they might be able to get into Japan too. Just because those companies are old doesn't mean that they can do anything about it, especially if WWE backdoor buy into somebody. They can always circle jerk this thing. If they wanted to buy a company, and get in through the back door, they could probably do that too. Yeah, but the United States is open door. Like the United States, you can come into this country and start up a wrestling company if you want to. WWE can put some screws to you, but they can't stop you. That's why there's so many here. But in Japan, it's different. It's different. The government runs a lot of these arenas, so they set a lot of the rules and everything. So it's going to be different. So I don't know what the economics is like Japan and how you would start a LLC in Japan or whatever. There'll probably be some red tape there, but I could see them doing something small, starting up a performance center in Japan. And believe it or not, there's people who will be interested in going there just to see what's up. The thing is, people think that there aren't wrestlers who are in Mexico or in Japan or in Africa or whatever who don't want to be in WWE. It's like some of them, quite a few of them do. Most of them want to make more fucking money than they make now, and WWE can afford to pay it. So that's going to be the big thing, If WWE comes to Mexico with their money and says, we want to start a Mexican wrestling promotion, they only need 1 or 2, 3 top stars, and that's it. And they can get the rest from people that they're training. They can send people over from the United States. They could do all kinds of shit. And it may start slow. It may bomb a few shows, but eventually once they get a foothold there, it might take 10 years for it to work. But that's a lot different than them not being able to do it. Hell, WWE damn near bought CMLL a couple of years ago. They almost bought AAA too. You know, so those families likely are not stopping anything. You know, they'll go and buy the fucking company if they wanted to. Now, I don't think CMLL will ever be for sale. I don't think that'll ever happen. AAA though, who knows? You know, and Conan has talked about it, so it's not like me making up shit. You know, they have. He's talked about, you know, a couple of times they tried to do joint shows or whatever with WWE, and they just said, "Fuck it, sell us the company." And you know, they had to talk people out of selling the fucking company. It says, Mongo says, they don't. Why go somewhere where your culture is buried? Mexicans have been treated like crap in the WWF since 1980. Well, you got to ask the Mexicans who keep going. Ask Andrade when he went. You know, Rush wanted to go to WWE until Andrade told him no. You know, because he was leaving at the time. You know, so you got to think about it. They're being paid in fucking pesos, man. That's one of the first. Andrade worked 2 AAA shows, and they started complaining about the money. So I'm telling you, it's if they make more money, yeah. Ask Mystico why he went. He was a top draw in Mexico, and he fucking left at the top of his popularity. He got the fuck out of there and went to the United States. You know, yeah, money talks. You know, yeah, money fucking talks. So they'll take off if they have to, bro. You know, it's nice to think that the promoters down there are strong and that they can do something about it. But even if they work together, there's nothing they can do. If WWE really want to get into Mexico, there's nothing they can do. Because they don't got endless money, because nobody has endless money. But they have far more money than AAA and CMLL. You know, they have far more money than both of them. You know, and there's guys who keep popping up. Like there is fucking independent promotions in Mexico that WWE can fund through the back door or sign some kind of talent agreement with and all that kind of. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And they've done it because Vince knows all the tricks in the book. And he's a phone call away. You know, he went and partnered with the fucking guy in St. Louis. What was his name? Right on the tip of my tongue. I just listened to an entire podcast on St. Louis wrestling. And Vince went and partnered with the guy, knowing he was going to snake him in the end. You know, like he wanted into St. Louis. But, you know, St. Louis was a pretty strong NWA territory. So he helped the guy in St. Louis until he didn't need him anymore. And he got rid of him. You know, so it's not going to work out. How is WWE's relationship with the cartels? Yeah, that's why they're going to Mexico. I wouldn't want it either. That's the thing about Mexico and Japan, especially, is their notorious connections to fucking criminal gangs and shit. You know, Yakuza and Mexican cartels. I definitely will be concerned about that. But on the flip side, let's say that CMLL or AAA, they decided they wanted to buddy up to the cartels. That would do more damage than letting WWE run it. Because then the cartels ain't gonna know when to stop. They're just gonna fleece you forever. You're gonna be in their debt forever. So let's say you tried NXT Mexico. So then you start having your buddies in the cartels or whatever, you know, harass the performance center or whatever. They throwing bricks through the window, setting shit on fire, maybe even kill somebody. Who knows? You're going to be in their debt for so long. It's going to cost you more money. That's not Sam Mushnick. Sam Mushnick was the guy who retired. His protege is who Vince buddied up with. Larry Madison, that's his name, Larry Madison. So Vince McMahon buddied up to Larry Madison and helped him out a little bit when he was going to war with the Kansas City troop that took over Mushnick's part of St. Louis. And it didn't work out well for Madison. He ended up working for Vince. And I'm telling you, if they wanted to get in, they can get in. The question is, how badly do they really want to get in there? I don't think Triple H wants to get in Mexico bad enough to spend the amount of money that would be necessary to get in there, because he'll probably never make it back. And that would be the question. Will he spend more money than he's willing to make on this? There's no telling. The same thing with Japan. It's going to spend more money than he's going to make, at least for a little while. And it might not be worth it. And plus, them criminal gangs and shit, you don't want that. You don't want the Yakuza popping up at your doorstep. Yeah, they have long traditions, but they don't have the money. That's the thing. Like, you can have tradition and people can, celebrate your family and everything, but ultimately you're paying people in pesos. That's the thing. Like, you're paying people in fucking pesos, man. They're gonna be looking at that shit and being like, 500 American dollars versus 500 fucking pesos. There's no competition between the two. Like, their only hope is that there are a lot of people, and there's some who are both in Japan and in Mexico, who would say, I will never join those organizations. And they probably never will. And DMAC actually gave it another one. Would Americans or Canadians or whatever support an NXT Mexico? The thing is, would that even be the goal? Would the goal of NXT Mexico would be to get Americans to watch it? It'll probably be in Spanish, mostly. So probably no. So there'd probably be like some bilingual announcers or something like that, I would imagine. But but knowing it's a WWE product, would it even get the local fans interested in it? Because when the Japanese go see WWE, they want to see WWE. It's the same thing as when we go see, Japanese pro wrestling. We want to see New Japan. We don't want to see American style in Japan. I don't know where that shit started, but some people they like that kind of thing. But no, I do not speak Spanish. But that would be the question. Can you do an NXT Mexico, which would essentially be Taco Bell wrestling? That's essentially what it would be. It would be Mexican-inspired American wrestling. It wouldn't be pure lucha libre, and that would probably be a problem with it. Because it wouldn't be pure lucha. That would be something to consider. The same thing with Japan. It would be something to consider. But when you got a lot of broke wrestlers out there toiling and taking crazy bumps, and then somebody comes along and says, I'll pay you in American dollars, get you in our system, you might be able to get on Monday Night Raw, get on some pay-per-view, sell some merchandise, some t-shirts, get in a video game. You're asking people to walk away from that. And that's not in their future right now, especially if they're a young wrestler in Japan or in Mexico. Man, you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot. Like I said, a lot of those older talent, they kind of stuck in their ways. A lot of the Dr. Wagners and those kinds of guys, maybe not. But there are some younger dudes out there who are like, these old guys are in my way. I can't get up. I can't make the money. Yada yada yada. At worst, WWE gets down there. They raise the cost of labor to the point where AAA and CMLL can't compete. Maybe Cyber Fight may, I don't know I have to look at their balance sheets and everything. And plus, I don't know the Japanese currency, how it compares to the American currency. I'm pretty sure that currency is wildly inflated. Yen is like, you pay 800 million yen for a loaf of bread or something stupid like that. So there's no telling, there's no telling. Yeah, the thing is, Lucha Libre is very strong, very, very strong. It's going to be it's very strong in both Mexico and Japan. As the cultural situations are, they are very strong. The thing is, and here's the thing that WWE has a very large Hispanic fan base. and they do. You know, now, I don't know about Japan. I can't speak to Japan, but they have a very large Hispanic fan base. At one point, within the last 20 years or so, they had more Hispanic fans than black fans in WWE, and it's I think they have more Hispanic fans than female fans in WWE. So they got the Hispanic audience. The issue is going to be it's not traditional lucha libre, and that's going to be a problem. Because people want legitimate lucha libre. That's what they want. If you're Mexican, that's what you want. Now, some people might like lucha libre done a little bit differently, while other people might not like that, So there's no telling. But yeah, El Hijo del Vikingo is a AAA mega champion, at least for right now. This guy is tremendous. He's been good for 3 or 4 years. He's just now getting a visa to come to the United States. Like, that's the shit I'm talking about, man. Like, Conan knows better than this. Why is the kid just now getting a visa? Why didn't he have a visa 3 years ago? Like, I don't get it. He should have had a visa 3 years ago, man. Vikingo was good 2 or 3 years ago. He should have had him in the country. And Conan was there. And cost the kid some fucking money. This kid should be making grip right now. I mean, he might be a big star in Mexico, but shit, he should be making so much money now. Latino fans but no Mexican stars. I don't know. It depends on what you mean by Mexican stars. I mean, is Rey Mysterio not Mexican? You had Alberto Del Rio. It's not their fault that Alberto Del Rio flopped. And then he kind of washed out after that. So it wasn't easy. They kind of washed out. He kind of washed out after that. Then they tried Andrade, but he ended up jumping ship. You still got Angel and Humberto. They haven't even tried with them yet. They're still in the tag team. They haven't done anything with them yet. But they got, some Hispanic superstars. They just haven't really put the push on them. Does it really matter that Rey Mysterio is Chicano? Alberto is a pendejo. That part is true. That part is true. But he came from a wrestling family, and Vince was able to use that, and they pushed him because of that, and it worked for a little while, and then he washed out. They gave him the shot. He was in there with Cena and Punk and he was in there with the top guys. I think he did okay, but he just didn't have the longevity. He had an ego. Mystico was a complete washout. They tried with him too. That was embarrassing what happened to him. But they can't have Rey forever, Now, I don't think the Mexicans care that Rey Mysterio wasn't born in Mexico. I don't think they care. They're still doing like lucha style television shows and shit based on Rey Mysterio. They don't care that he's, both of his parents are Mexican. He was just born in California he was born on one side of the border rather than the other. And he was still raised in Mexico. He speaks fluent Spanish. I don't think they care that much. Now, if you was to have like a half Mexican wrestler, maybe I could see somebody saying, his daddy white or something like that. But both of his parents are Mexican. That's like Eddie's parents are Mexican. I don't see that being as big of a difference. Just because you were born in the United States, you speak fluent Spanish. You can go down there and communicate. They can always run a little bit of the whole American stuff. Like, I think Eddie Guerrero did that a little bit when he did the old USA thing. But yeah, you speak the language, you understand the culture, you understand the people. You were just born on one side of the border or the other. I don't think. No, Rey is not. He's not fucking El Santo. No, he's not a Blue Demon. he's not that. He's still alive for starters, so he's definitely not that. But he's the closest thing that he's not Mil Mascaras or anything like that. Because I know Mil Mascaras is still alive too. But as far as younger wrestlers, it's They really hated Oscar De La Hoya in Mexico. Well, you need Puerto Rican. I never really got the Oscar De La Hoya thing. I thought he was Puerto Rican all this time. He's Mexican, or he's supposed to be Mexican. I have no idea. I thought Oscar De La Hoya was Puerto Rican, and that's why they didn't like him. Because that would make sense. Because I don't know. But also, Oscar De La Hoya is a shithead, so I don't know. While the Korg comes to me with that answer, we're going to talk about Tony Khan and FTR. This was incredibly stupid, and this is absolute brain rot. Here's what Wrestling Observer Newsletter tweeted out. In his dialogue talking about ROH and FTR, Tony Khan says, "Believe me, I tried," in reference to having a Briscoes versus FTR match happen in AEW. Then John Alba tweeted out saying, Tony Khan praises FTR as one of the best tag teams in the world, indicates he'd like to showcase them. It's like Tony Khan has this conception that we're stupid, like we're stupid people, and we don't understand that he owns the company via his dad. He owns the company, and that he is the booker. He's talking to FTR and to FTR's fans like, "Hey guys, it's out of my control. There's nothing I can do about this. I would love to showcase these guys, but I mean, what can I do?" He's like, "What the fuck? Put them on the fucking show. You didn't even need to." Some of these matches on this show don't have any build up anyway. And you could have just put FTR versus the Briscoes on the show with no build up, because some of these matches ain't got no fucking build up anyway. Absolutely, I've studied Lucha Libre, so I know a little bit about Lucha Libre and the top stars in Lucha Libre. Absolutely. Oscar is from East LA. Okay, I see. Yes. Let's do it again. It's an awesome movie. I want to start doing some throwback to some blaxploitation films. I want to do a blaxploitation appreciation night, but I don't know when I'll do it, because I work every fucking holiday from this point forward. I work at Christmas, I work at New Year's, work at Thanksgiving. But I do want to do blaxploitation films. Salute to Eric Mack. What up, doe? But yeah, Tony Khan is on some dumb shit. He's trying to get people to think that he's not the booker of FTR. Like he doesn't. And I've even seen people make this excuse. Well, they have commitments to New Japan. I'm like, he's the one who's dictating those commitments. He's the one who's deciding that they can do these things. He can immediately just say, no, they're not doing this. This is what I want to do. It just doesn't work. And I think he's trying to play people for stupid. And I'm certainly not about to fall for it. Talking about he would like to showcase them. Then just do it. Just fucking do it. No, Basketball Glory is not blaxploitation. It's not. I don't know what the fuck it is. It ain't that. It ain't that. Oh yeah, I forgot about Ivelisse. Did y'all see Ivelisse when she talked about Thunder Rosa? Oh, okay. If you didn't see that, let's talk about it. So earlier this month, I forget when it was. I took a screenshot and forgot about it. But Ivelisse apparently got just in a mood, like she tends to do, and tweeted out this: "Never forget the moment this bitch decided to be a coward piece of shit and shoot punch me when she was supposed to block my shot. Something else, plus something else, and also the balls to pull my hair this way. She's lucky I'm a pro and didn't proceed to break her jaw." She's talking about Thunder Rosa, by the way, because she hates Thunder Rosa. So she has a video of her match with Thunder Rosa where Thunder Rosa was supposed to block a punch. Instead, Thunder Rosa just kind of threw her hand up and punched Ivelisse in the face. So a fan responded that if she felt like it was a stiff shot, she should have responded stiffly or whatever. Ivelisse said, "No, I don't give a fuck who you are. Don't pull that shit in the ring. You want to fight? Do that shit outside. Be a fucking professional." And she says, "What did I do? I proceeded to make sure the match went on how it was supposed to, because that's your job as a veteran and responsibility as a pro." Evilise is insane, man. This broad crazy. She's another one who got some talent, but she's batshit, so nobody's ever going to touch her. And I like Evilise in Lucha Underground. She was very good. She's badass, but she's nuts. Like, she's crazy. She's like a razor blade in the purse type of girl, you know? She wants to be all calm and serene and look like a yoga auntie or whatever. And then she gets on Twitter and she starts tweeting out this crazy stuff, like randomly hating Thunder Rosa. Like, she just had a moment where she just went off on Thunder Rosa for like 15, 20 minutes, and that was it. I was just kind of like, damn. And then went back to trying to pretend to be fun. Like, you're not fun, auntie. You crazy. You know, like, you're not right. You're not well. Evilise is fine. I like her look, and she's a good wrestler. But what's going on between them ears? That shit got to be illegal. She out of her mind. I think she really is she's out for Thunder Rosa. Look, that shit, she could take it in blood. Her and Thunder Rosa should fight. Especially now that Thunder Rosa's back is fucked up. They definitely should fight. They should definitely start throwing hands now. I wouldn't be surprised if Evilise got like a voodoo thing in her basement that's putting needles in Thunder Rosa's back or some shit to make sure she can't walk. You know, it's probably all Evilise's fault. You need to check her townhouse or whatever to make sure she's not doing like witch doctory or some shit in there to prevent Thunder Rosa from working. All right, let's talk about Scotty 2 Hotty, because Scotty 2 Hotty is the next thing on my list, I believe. He don't want to wrestle women. Made that pretty clear. Then got attacked, and ended up deleting his Twitter account. So what exactly did Scotty 2 Hotty say? Now, it took me a while to actually go back and find it, because it took me forever, because I was at work when I saw this. So by the time I got off, it was already gone. Yes, FTR is not even on the card. FTR has not featured on the show. They have been on the show. They have even wrestled on the show. But they have not even been featured on the show. They're not even in the hunt for the tag team titles. They are just present. They are the definition of present, you know, put your hand up in the back of the class and then you disappear. And he got the nerve to say, I would love to showcase these guys. I really, really, really tried to have the Briscoes versus FTR on this show. Like, what do you mean you tried? Even if it was true that Warner Brothers does not want the Briscoes on the show, even if that was true. Oh, speaking of that, no, in fact, let's finish this thought first and then I'll get back to it. Even if that was true, they don't control the pay-per-view. You could say there's going to be a special bonus match on the show and then do it there. And plus, there's a final battle coming up, which is the only thing he had to say was we'll probably do it for final battle or whatever. That's all he had to say. Him saying, we're trying our best. It's like, no, you're not. Just do it. What are you waiting for? Yeah, that ROH pay-per-view is the 10th. So what is he waiting for? He's waiting for a final battle. He should have just said that. But there was a little bit of controversy, not any major controversy, because Mark Briscoe, he's a deer hunter. I mean, he's from the country of, what was this, Delaware. Not Delaware is not a country, but he's from the country parts of Delaware. And he shot 3 bucks. His wife did, or something like that. And he took a picture with these dead deer. And people were very upset that somehow a guy who looks like he eats deer had killed 3 deer and took a picture of it. Typical shit. Like, Brock gets this stuff a lot too. Braun Strowman gets this stuff a lot. Anytime somebody goes hunting and they put the hunting pictures up, there's always these people with their goddamn vandalism all over their page, talking about how they're murderers, and even if they eat them, they're still horrible people, and how can you brag, and all this kind of, it was ridiculous. But it was an interesting thing to bring up while I was talking about the Briscoes. But they're likely going to be on Final Battle anyway. And that's really what he's trying to do, is trying to have FTR and the Briscoes, you know, and he's probably going to do it again because people are not tired of those matches. I love the Briscoes versus FTR. And I'm certainly going to watch those matches. Hell, I may watch those matches for no reason tomorrow. Not that I'm talking about it. I got to clean my room anyway, so I may sit around and vacuum the floor and watch those matches. But him trying to give some kind of lame excuse. Look, I'm just tired of fucking Tony Khan press conferences. Enough of this shit. You know, like, he's not going to say anything that anybody finds important. Stop talking to the fucking guy. They need to boycott this shit. He's been using these things to only talk about himself and to sell tickets for his stupid fucking shows. It doesn't do anything for anybody in the media. It's not like the media is any good anyway, but it certainly doesn't do anything good for the media. So what's the point? Like, what's the fucking point, really? So let's get into this, because this was a Scotty 2 Hotty thing. As y'all know, Scotty 2 Hotty was a trainer in NXT. When WWE went over to NXT 2.0, Scotty 2 Hotty quit his job and decided to go back working as a wrestler. So in the middle of the day, on the 17th of November, Scotty 2 Hotty, Scott Garland, put out this: "Dear promoters, I do not fight women. I'm 49 and I have a 20-year-old daughter. Hurting women isn't appealing to me. I understand that there are men that do it these days. It's just not my thing. If that makes me old or out of touch, I'll take it. Please stop trying to book it. Also, before my matches from 20 years ago with Linda Miles, China, or any other woman are brought up, I know what I did. It was a different time, a different place, and I wasn't the father to a 20-year-old daughter." So he's trying to say that because he has a daughter, he can't envision himself wrestling a woman. I'm against intergender wrestling anyway, so I'm not. He's saying that, I guess apparently he's getting calls from promoters asking him to wrestle women. And instead of saying to them individually that he won't have matches with women, he's saying it on Twitter so he can tell all of the promoters at one time who keep booking him that he doesn't want to do intergender matches, which I think is a very efficient way of doing things. You know, instead of telling these assholes one at a time, "No, I don't wrestle women. No, I don't wrestle women. No, I don't wrestle women," it's going to get out eventually that you don't wrestle women. So he's just going to come out and say it. And says he doesn't want to wrestle women. And this was a very, very mild take, by the way. It wasn't even over the top. He didn't cuss anybody out. He didn't say, "Oh, I don't believe in intergender wrestling." He just said, "It's not my thing." That was literally his words. "It's not my thing." And this is the response that he got. Too bad a lot of that stuff is gone because he deleted his account. So a lot of this stuff is gone. But one of the things I did manage to screenshot was interesting. Most of the time, this is from Lainey Luck, who I know is an independent wrestler. I think I've seen her around. She says, "Most of the time when I see I don't want to wrestle women, I hear what they're actually saying. I don't want to sell for a woman." That just goes to show you cannot be responsible for what people heard, only for what you said. You can only be responsible for what you actually said, not for what anybody heard. This dude said he doesn't want to wrestle women because of his daughter. That's why. He said he doesn't want his daughter watching him wrestling women. She took that as, "You just don't want to sell for a woman." You dummy. He doesn't have to. He can wrestle a woman and not sell for her. You know? You can throw your bullshit elbow smashes and he could just walk right through them shits. He could take the money and run. The thing is, he doesn't want to do it. You know, he doesn't want to do it. That's the thing. Like, God, it's awful, man. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. People have been so offended by this. The wild thing and the funny thing, and I remember seeing this part, is Matt Cardona came in and said that, me too, I don't wrestle women either. And people, of course, attacked him and said that he wrestled Jordan Grace this year, which he did, which he was clearly just joking. But people get so upset and so offended by this stuff. And it's like, what happened to boundaries, yo? What happened to my body, my choice? What happened to boundaries? Like, this guy, yeah, right. He is almost 50 years old and he don't want to wrestle especially any young women. I'll never forget. And this is when I actually, like, women's wrestling took a huge hit for me. It's not even just that they're women. I forget that which female wrestler said it. I'm trying to remember as I talk. I talk faster than I think. Where she said she doesn't like wrestling women because they usually are not as well trained as the men. And I was like, oh, so you saying because the women suck, you don't want to work with them. You want to work with the people who actually know what they're doing. Okay, that's not fair to the men because you're a woman. So you probably train like all the other women. So why should a man be saddled with somebody who don't know what the fuck they're doing? Why should a man be saddled with somebody who has no physical strength to lift them up, to be able to slam them or put them down safely? Why should they have to do that? I don't know. But apparently that's just the world that we live in now. We've gone through this numerous times talking about intergender wrestling. Ultimately, the unfairness of it is that if a woman says she didn't want to wrestle men, and I think there have been women who have said that. I've read some articles from some women who say they don't like intergender wrestling. They don't want to do it. And there's no problem. Nobody ever says that a woman has to wrestle men. Nobody ever said that, So it's weird that everybody thinks that men should have to wrestle women. And this is a big thing on the independents. This is such a huge thing with this fucking intergender wrestling stuff. It's on every indie show. People just do it like it's normal. Like it's some regular, everyday shit. You see regular men wrestling women. And you just be sitting there looking like, why? Like, okay, but if that's what you want to do, you gotta butter your bread too, brother. Do your thing. But for somebody who's been working consistently in the business for 30 years, he feels like he doesn't have to do that. He's got money. He want to work matches or whatever. He doesn't want to do this. Doesn't want to wrestle young women, especially young women who might not be trained properly or whatever. He should be able to make that call. And yeah, he makes that public, not to embarrass or humiliate any of the women, but because people are calling him, asking him to book intergender matches, because so many of these organizations now have top women's wrestlers on them, like a Jordan Grace or, Athena or something like that. And they often wrestle men. See, Jordan Grace, now she sounds like an old blues singer these days, with all the shit she took. She got like a smoker's voice. She sounds like fucking Louis Armstrong. I see trees of green, red roses too. But it is what it is, man. She stop trying to wrestle women, dog. Like, don't do that. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to wrestle women. I don't get it. No, Top Dog. They see back in the day, Sherry used to get body slams and stuff like that too. It wasn't that big of a deal back then, because Sherry's considered one of the boys. So she would always get slammed, and she would do a move on the guys, like a top rope something or whatever. She would smack them, kick them in the nuts or whatever. They treated her like she was one of the boys. She would take clotheslines and stuff like that. But the Attitude Era took it to the next level. And that's when they started having China, who was very well built, wrestling men. Right? So That's where they took it. But they were also doing that in ECW. So because Jazz was doing it. Jazz was wrestling men. And I forget if that was at the same time or maybe it was a little bit before. Again, Vince Russo stole a lot of ideas from ECW. Period. So maybe he saw Jazz wrestling men in ECW and decided that he was going to do that with China. Or maybe it just so happened that he had the same idea at the same time. Or maybe he even did it before Jazz. But I know Jazz was wrestling men. No, as a matter of fact, Tommy Dreamer's wife wrestled a man in ECW. Beulah also wrestled. She wrestled the referee in ECW. So yeah, they have been doing it in ECW for a little while. They have been doing the men wrestling women stuff. And WWF didn't really do that. It wasn't a completely violence against women free zone, but they had toned it down from the days of Sherry. So they weren't doing it as often anymore. Plus, there wasn't that many women around. When Chyna came around, though, she looked like a woman who could handle herself. So everybody thought it was cool to do that with Chyna. The problem is, it became everybody. It became put Tori Wilson through a table, put Grandma through a table, and it just got ridiculous. And it's so I don't know about that one, bro. I don't know if they started it, but they've definitely popularized it. And the WCW also had done it. They did it a little bit later with Medusa becoming the Cruiserweight champion and stuff like that. So there have been some times, and that was a way of humiliating a heel, actually, to have him lose to a girl. You know? So funny how that works out. You know? Didn't they do an angle with Jim Cornette and Baby Doll? Didn't they have a match? I don't remember if they have a match. Yeah, ECW used to go over the top. Like they used to go way over the top. I mean, they had Rhino power drive Sandman's wife through a table or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It was wild. That would have been like in 99, 2000 though, so it was already kind of normal by then. But they was spazzing, man. They was spazzing. They had already did the Beulah McGillicuddy Blade match before that. That was in 95, I want to say, before Alfonso was about to get fired. I think he was about to get fired in like 96 or 97. So the whole Beulah McGillicuddy thing, it might have been in 97, where he did her and Alfonso did the Blade match. So it was nuts. You know, they were doing they were doing a storyline in 93 or 94 ECW where I think that the manager Jason was fighting women. And Sandman's wife was a part of the storyline then too. And I think she caught a power driver then too. So they was doing that stuff really early. They was doing it like in 93, maybe 94. They was doing the whole, because not Tommy Dreamer, but Sandman's wife is a wrestler. I can't remember what her name is. But she was a worker and she was part of a storyline early in the ECW where she was getting beat up by men. So yeah, they had been doing that stuff for a while. And then they did the Raven angle where Beulah was supposedly pregnant and Raven was trying to beat her up while she was pregnant. Like that stuff was like really over the top. You know, like they was maxing out. They was maxing out in ECW, bro. Now in certain places, this intergender stuff, like in Mexico, the intergender stuff was is normal. Just like the transgender stuff and the cross-dressing and the gay stuff. Like they don't celebrate that shit in Mexico like that because they just do it. You know, they have the cross-dressing, what they call the it's right on the tip of my tongue. They call it the exoticos. So they do the exotico thing in Mexico, and it's just a normal part of the show. You know, what they call it, the Pimpinela Escalada has his own little part of the show where he just comes out. It's usually early in the show, but it's like They do some of the little sexual stuff or whatever, and they go on about the rest of the show. It's a something for everybody kind of feel to it. So Mexico isn't as even though it's not necessarily my bag. It's not as nauseating as it is in the United States. Because the United States, they try to act like shit like super, super important and super special, and it's a super big deal, and you're supposed to care so much about this. And now GCW kind of does it, where they've got, the trans wrestler and stuff like that. And I really don't trip on it too much, but they do it now. And ECW, I think GCW is probably the best, the spiritual successor to ECW. So it's natural that they would take it to the next level the way ECW did. But ECW was just out of line, man. It's out of bounds. And I'm telling you, a lot of the Vince Russo shit was stolen from ECW. So, yeah, the intergender wrestling they were doing in the Attitude Era, they stole that shit from Paul Heyman. And it's unfortunate because it really made the business toxic for a few years. And then things got really bad when Stephanie used to smack the guys and they couldn't do anything about it. Yes, it made it a big deal when like Brie Bella or somebody got into her face. Yeah, because it really got them over. But her emasculating guys for like weeks and weeks was not fun. It wasn't fun to watch. It sucked. It sucked. It sucked hard way. But at the same time, I would rather them have that than have that intergender shit. To me, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it was funny to see The Rock, rock bottom Stephanie McMahon because she was being a douchebag. But it's a little bit different, when you change your demographics up a little bit. Stephanie ruined a lot of things. Millions of teenage boys' underwear being one of them. And as a matter of fact, I just saw some dudes on Twitter the other day still lusting over 50-year-old Stephanie McMahon. I don't know what the guy's problem is, but they doing what they do, man. I don't know. It's not 2000 anymore. Stephanie's not really. She's got that mom look to me now. I don't find that to be very appealing. But yeah, ECW is on some bullshit. And it's normal outside. It's not normal in Japan. Is it normal in Japan to have intergender wrestling? Well, technically not in certain parts, I'll say. It's pretty normal for them to do intergender wrestling. But on the main stage, like, All Japan, New Japan, is almost never they do intergender wrestling. They almost never do it. But WWE not doing it is smart. It's an avenue to let Impact play with that. Let other people play with that idea. My thing is, why wouldn't they ask Tony Khan about that? Ask Tony Khan, why can't, are they going to do intergender wrestling? Can Jade Cargill wrestle for the world title? How about that? Can Britt Baker wrestle for the world title? Would they allow that to happen? I don't think so, because I think they'd probably lose hella sponsors. And if they could do it, they probably would, because it's a big thing on the independents, and it would make them look like they were more progressive than WWE. But at the same time, is that something their sponsors or Warner Brothers Discovery even want happening? Which is one of the things about Impact. Impact is all in on the intergender wrestling. They even have a women's world champion. Problem with that is you kill the justification for there to be in a women's division. Like, why have a women's division if you can wrestle them in? Just be the male champion. You only need one champion at that point. We need a women's champion for it. Especially when your women's champion fucking sounds like Pennywise from It. Why? ECW violence is rated E for everyone. Hell, even the audience was getting hurt. Okay. This one. It says there are dudes willing to work those matches, not going at Scotty too Hotty about not doing it. Right. There's plenty of guys out there who are willing to work with women and are looking forward to working with women and want to. But it's one of those things where unless you're 100% on board, they don't support you. It's like, it's okay if we agree 90%. You know, it's okay if we agree 70%. It's okay if we agree 60%. If we agree 10%, okay, we got a problem. We agree 20%, 30%. Oh, you know, as long as if there's a healthy, 40, 60, that's okay. You know, I don't have to agree with you 100% on shit in order to get what I want done. You know, if I want to have Scotty to Hotty on my show, I want to present an intergender match. He doesn't want to do it. I'll find somebody else. I could put him in a different match. I don't even need to tell anybody he doesn't want to do an intergender match. So, but what this has done is it's created a whole new problem. And we stepped up to the next level of stupid. And this is not the first time I saw this. But let's talk about it. Veda Scott, who works at Fightful, if I remember correctly now, she says a request for ring announcers. Before saying a match is a women's match, which in general is unnecessary in my opinion, could we at least ask the participants in said match if they're okay with that distinction? I'm sure this just gets a bunch of troll responses, but it's 2022. So why would you need to ask the wrestlers if this is a women's match? It's a women's match. It's like, yay, we love women's wrestling. We want to have more women's wrestling, but you cannot call it a women's match. Just don't do that. Don't call it a women's match. We want more women's wrestling. What? What? What's wrong with these people, man? This is brain rot. We don't call it a women's match, but we want more women's wrestling. It's that same thing. I think, didn't we just have the conversation with Ronda Rousey said that she didn't want that? She didn't want the matches being called women's matches anymore because there's some kind of connotation that they're going to do something different. It's like, no, what you want, what you know for a fact is that if you say the following women's contest or something like that, some people are going to change the channel. Some people are not going to be interested. Some people are going to lose interest. Some people are going to walk away, going to go to the bathroom or whatever. So you're going to try to hook those people, not by your interest music, not by your performance, but by lying, by just saying, lying by omission and saying, this is a match, the following contest, not the following women's contest or the following match is a women's match or whatever. Some people get more excited by the concept of it being a women's match. I don't understand why we need to ask people. What are we asking them? What are we asking them? Can I call this a women's match? What the fuck else are you going to call it? What the fuck else are you going to call it? Well, you don't call men's matches men's matches. It's like, no, we don't. We really don't. So if that's what you want to be masculine, you want to be a man, then you need to surrender all of these other women's things that you got here. You're a guaranteed spot on the roster because you're female. You got ovaries. You just give that on up. You're not going to do that. So, okay, we're just going to call it a women's match. The following contest is a women's match, women's division contest, or whatever. I don't even think about stuff like that, which goes to show how insecure these people are. Like, I didn't even know. It's like, if they was to do something like the following Latinos match, or the following Latinx match, the following Black people's match, the nigga match, scheduled for one fall, I'd be like, wait a minute, it's a niggas match. Like, what does that mean? But we know when you say women's wrestling, what they're trying to say. We get it. Or are we going to, like, if it's an intergender match, they announce it as an intergender match. It's not, this is dumb. This is so silly. I can't imagine people having so much time on their hands and they get upset about this. I mean, I'm stupefied by it. 40-ounce championship, the Crown Royal tournament winner, the Hennessy Cup. Uh, the Zipper Continental Champion. These people are weird, man. You get upset about this shit. Why? Why? I don't get it. It's dumb. And she expect people the ring announcers to ask you, can we call this a women's match? What? What? Why? Why is that? That's what I want to know. Like, I was sitting here like, why is that? KRS-One. Why is that? What's wrong with you? I don't know, man. I don't get it. I'm not I'm not hip. I'm not hip. So these people are bizarre, man. They killing me. They just got so many fucking rules now. There's so many rules. They want to decide where you can do business. Progress is getting ate out for doing this show in Dubai. It's not a big deal, man. It's fucking Dubai. Who cares? They're making money. Who cares? You wanted indie wrestling in Europe to still be alive, but you don't want them ever to grow or to do anything different. For Christ's sake, what's the problem? Oh, I had another story that had hidden in here somewhere. So we're gonna get around to it. Maybe we actually will get a little over 2 hours. That was some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen. All right, so Baron Corbin, he was on the bump apparently, November the 16th, and he's talking about struggling as an independent wrestler isn't something to brag about. And I actually genuinely agree with what he's saying here. So wait a minute, I'm trying to find. I would play the audio, but I don't know if it's queued up the way that it needs to be in order to work. So I'm just going to read it. He says, this is what Baron Corbin says. Gargano has done some great things for somebody that nobody expected anything from. A lot of these guys, it's a bragging right. 10 years, I've been wrestling for 15 years. Why is that a bragging right? I made a phone call and the WWE brought me in for a tryout and signed me within a week. That's how it works. I don't need to go to work for a hot dog and popcorn in your local gymnasium. That's not what I do. It's not a bragging right for me to go, I drove around in my buddy's Honda Civic for 6 hours to go to this show and then drive 12 hours to this show and the car broke down and then we ran out of gas and we didn't have money to eat. That's not something you brag about. These guys come in and that's part of their story. They're giving hope to people who sit in the audience and go, I want to be like Johnny Gargano. How many little kids see that? Because they have no hope. They have no goals. They have no dreams. And they want to see a guy like that and go, oh, man, if this little guy or Kevin Owens, this guy, I can relate to him. We're similar. We do the same things. We like the same things. I can become a WWE superstar. No, you can't. Look, this job is not for everybody. My mailman is a nice guy. This job is not for him. This is for elite level athletes, world-renowned competitors, and guys who, when you walk into a room, they look at somebody like me and they go, that guy is somebody. If they've never watched WWE before, they go, man, look at that watch. Look at the diamonds that he's wearing. Look at that suit. That guy is somebody important, whether they've seen me or not. You walk into a room with Johnny Gargano, Kevin Owens, or AJ Styles, and they go like, man, there are some people in the room hanging out. I saw 500 guys like that at the mall today. There's a difference. Clearly, he's in character, right? Clearly, he's in character. But you will be surprised how many people caught feelings off this. For starters, it's on the bump, so you know he's in character. They don't shoot on the bump. The bump is just extra content WWE creates for YouTube or whatever. But people have gotten so upset at this fucking guy, and it was fucking hilarious. And he continued, so much fun hitting the major colleges and talking to the star athletes about what's coming to WWE when their collegiate or pro careers come to an end. I want them all to sign just to irritate the Twitter nerds. he's been doing such a great job trolling people on Twitter. This guy, he's fucking good. Corbin is he's pretty fucking good. Whenever I want to say Corbin is worthless and a waste of time, and we need to get rid of this fucking guy. Whenever I feel like saying that stuff, he goes on and says some stuff like this. You know what? Braun and Baron Corbin probably should be a tag team. I'm not even gonna hold you up. That shit would probably work. Baron Corbin could do the talking. Braun could do the monster stuff. Baron Corbin is a big dude too. But this is pretty great. This is pretty great. And people are instantly got mad. Instantly got mad. One of the responses is, meanwhile, one of the top stars in WWE, Seth Rollins, made his notoriety and got taken notice of because of his lengthy time in the Indies. Somebody then responded, completely torching this guy. He didn't spend 15 years down there, though, which he didn't. Tyler Black was in ROH not that long. And he did American television before he was in WWE. So he wasn't in Ring of Honor long before Wrestling Society X popped up. So it was great. Man. When these guys know exactly what buttons to push because they know exactly the game that they're playing, right? They know that Baron Corbin has been beating on this indie wrestling thing like a drum for a while, right? He's been going at the indie guys he's been going after them for a while. So he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what game he's playing when he's fucking with these guys, man. And it's working. And he is better at this than he is in his actual cutting promos in the ring or working. When it comes to just generally existing and pissing people off, Baron Corbin got an easy gig. I'm pretty sure somebody sat him down and said, you know what, people hate you because you were an athlete and you came to WWE and their favorites are still busting their ass for a hot dog and a bologna sandwich in Evansville, Indiana or some shit. And they're very upset about this. Despite the fact that they claim it's the better match, they don't like that he's not going to get paid. And they're going to take it out on you. So your job is going to be to take that, run with it, and flip it on him. And he does a great job of it. He does a fantastic job of it. Him and Braun Strowman are really good at this. Now, he's not going to... See, Corbin's even better than Strowman because Corbin is willing to take the heat. He don't care. He's not going to delete this. First, he said it on the bump, so he can't delete it. Second, he doubled down on Twitter. So he's not going to delete it. Thirdly, he argued with people in the comment section about it, which tells you that he was not only that he was kicking his feet up somewhere and having a fucking blast with this. This is ridiculous, bro. Why would you do this? Why put yourself on the SummerSlam screen like this? And I didn't know he was a barbecue chef. Which is crazy to me. Because I wish I would have known that. I would have paid more attention to what he's doing. Yeah, paying the boys in food. Take care of them. Oh no, he needs not ever to be talking about wrestling John Cena. He's already done that. The crazy thing is he dunked on this one guy. The guy deleted his tweet, which is great because the guy tweeted out, "Oh shit, I'm trying to do the thing when you go back and forth on Twitter, and maybe you could you can get the tweet because the guy's name was Michael Moore, like the Michael Moore. So the guy's tweet says, talking like he accomplished something. Dude, you're an NFL practice squad washout who only got a chance in wrestling because you were spotted by a demented guy with a fetish for tall guys or something like that. So Corbin responded, you collect cards as an adult with an emoji profile pic. Your kids won't grow up saying I want to be like my dad. Damn. Damn. Oh, these are alley oops. This all he did was read the guy's bio and just nasty dunk contest. That's all that's going on in the conversation. Dunk contest. Somebody responded to him. This is coming from a guy who has no personality, no appeal, no in-ring talent, and should have been released a long time ago. Baron Corbin equals a bathroom break. Corbin responded, ouch, this hurts, especially coming from someone with no chin. How do you know this guy got a chin or not? That's what I want to know. This is ridiculous, man. God, this is great. This is great shit. Dude. Why? That's awesome shit, man. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. You know you down bad when you delete the tweet. You know you fucked up then. When you shot your shot at somebody and they take your goddamn head off with a Highlander sword and you delete the tweet, you know you fucked up. Oh shit. Motherfucker out here absorbing people's essences and shit. Good Lord, bro. Why? Yo, this shit great. Yeah, shit great, bro. What the fuck? Yo, I wasn't expecting that shit. I really wasn't. Oh man. I thought he was just gonna dig on the independent guys. He was gonna get mad at him. But no. I mean, let's continue. I want to see if he dumped on some more people. I just want to see if he did or not. Because there was an entire I think he only dunked on the people who added him. I think because there's some people who never added him and he didn't dunk on them. But the dude who said he was a bathroom break, he dunked on that fucking guy. So so many people are a lot of people agree. That's crazy. Yeah, some people agree. There's a lot of people who agree. I'm looking at the Ringside News contract. I mean the Ringside News tweet. And Ringside News attracts a very unique audience. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if I looked it up on Wrestle Talk or something like that. It'll probably be a better audience. But this is tremendous. Him shitting on these fans is great. This is great. So some people are very okay. I want you to fight for one. Let's see if we can get some goodies over here. Yeah, somebody suggested the same thing that we suggested. Baron Corbin, the man who was never on the Indies himself, talking about what indie wrestlers can brag about. Braun and Baron should form a tag team with JBL. Bro, you are printing money now with these ideas. This is not a bad idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Oh my God, the funniest shit, and this is not right, is when Braun Strowman said what he said like 2 or 3 years ago about indie wrestlers. How many indie wrestlers came out and said that they couldn't afford to eat or they had to take second jobs? And there are so many people. It was so sad. It was a big pity party of all the indie wrestlers who was talking about how hard their job is and how they had to take second jobs and all this kind of stuff. And now Baron Corbin is saying like, yo, that's not a badge of honor. You're fucking broke. You know, if you're broke and you're fucked up, You broken you down bad. You know, I know that it is part of your lifestyle, your narrative, your personal narrative. So when you finally do get somewhere, you remember those days when you were flipping burgers at McDonald's or you was washing dishes at the Coney or something like that. You do remember those days, those halcyon days when things weren't so good, they weren't so easy. You know, you do want to give people the idea that they can come from the bottom and make it. You do want to do that. You do want to give people that faith. But when somebody just cleans your clock like this, you really have to rethink why you messing with this guy. Maybe that guy's out of your league, you know? Oh, God. It said Braun was hitting fools over the head for booking fees through the pandemic. He's not one of the boys. No, he's not. Nah, Braun ain't one of the boys, man. He said, fuck it. He wouldn't start his own promotion during the pandemic. He's not. He ain't one of the boys. This ain't even his business. You know? Yeah, D-Mac is right. Baron Corbin is a football player who tried chasing his dream, could probably on some level relate to the journeyman wrestler. I think he likely does, but he knows what he's doing when he say this stuff. He knows what he's doing. You know? So he gets it. The issue is he's finding the hilarity and fucking with people. Because when Braun Strowman said, if you're a broke indie wrestler, you need to work harder or find a new job, which is true. If you broke and you can't take care of yourself, you do need to find a new job. That's just the facts, B. People ain't want to hear that, but them are the facts. If you can't take care of yourself, you need to move on to an industry where you can take care of yourself. So many people just jumped off, and I remember it was the fucking idiot that wears a mask in United Wrestling Network. D-Mac would know this. Gentleman Jarvis, that fucking guy, was talking about how he had to take a second job and how he didn't have Braun Strowman's size and all this kind of other sad shit. And and I was just sitting here like, you making his point for him. If you having life is so hard as an indie wrestler and you've been doing this for years already, either you're doing it for the love and therefore you can't complain, or you're just not good at this and you need to move on. Or you maybe need to do something different. Maybe you're good at wrestling, but your gimmick sucks. Braun didn't accept the free piece. I'm pretty sure he didn't. I'm sure he wasn't really a big fan of the hot dog circuit, the the bologna circuit. Okay, he likes steak. He's losing gains off of eating all this bologna. He can't do that. Can't eat spam no more, dog. I think he left the WWE and started his own promotion, dog. He was not trying to go work for these motherfuckers, man. He knew he couldn't either. So he was like, fuck, I'm going to go start my own shit. Which I think was smarter anyway. And more guys should actually get into the business of trying to start their own promotions. It's silly. And they're giving you the keys to the kingdom. Yes, you might not make it to WWE. And hell, I don't know half these motherfuckers. No, you can't maintain your 6'8" frame off of hot dogs and handshakes and promises. Trying to casting couch a guy the size of Braun Strowman. What's wrong with these people? You can't do that. Hey, hook me up and I might put it to work for you. I know Triple H. I know somebody who knows somebody in PC or some stupid shit like that. Come on, man. You got to be kidding me. No, it's not going to work, B. I promise you that. It ain't going to work. These people are pathetic. It's pathetic. And when somebody tells you the truth, you don't want to hear it. You lash out with all these sympathetic stories about how you slept in your car and how you love the business and you're not doing this for the money. But the money should be there, right? I mean, yes, an artist draws because he's good at it, but he would like to get paid. You know, you write music because you're good at it and because you have a passion for it. But I mean, you would like to get paid, right? Um, so why not listen to people who found a way to get paid? I mean, why shun them because they found a way to get paid? You should be trying to find a way to get paid. If the problem is you're running out of gas on the side of the road in Nebraska because you're trying to make it to some spot show, you need to tighten your shit up. You know, you definitely need to get it. And the crazy thing is, WWE has these sort of these recruitment drives or whatever. If you're an indie wrestler, maybe if you're going to every fucking show around the country trying to get seen, and you not popping up at one of WWE's recruitment things or whatever, you fucking up. You know, you're really making a mistake. Maybe they're not going to leave their couch to come and get you because that's what they're going to do to some of these football players and stuff because they're young. They might have an injury or two, or they might just not be good enough to make it in their field of choice. But if you're an indie wrestler and you've been doing this for 3 or 4 years already or whatever, and you still broke and you're tired, take a chance. Fly your fucking ass to fucking whatever the nearest recruitment is and go in there and bust your ass to try to get it. Try to get on AEW Dark or something like that when they come into your town. That's the best option you got. Sitting back being mad that Braun Strowman or Baron Corbin is talking shit about you, it's not going to increase the money that you make on your shows. It's not. It's not. It's probably not going to sell you one more t-shirt. And hell, selling one extra t-shirt a week might not change your life that much. You know, you gotta put in the work, man. You gotta put in the work. And these dudes don't want to hear that. They want to hear that, you know, I'm so sorry to hear that, or really appreciate your effort. You're such a great wrestler. That's what they want to hear. And people ain't trying to go through that, man. They don't care about you like that. Too bad Baron and Braun never talked about wrestling schools who train these indie wrestlers who were only taught how to sign checks. Or you want, hey, you paid me $3,000. What would you like to learn? That shit blow my mind. What would you like to learn? Oh yeah, give me the money. I'll teach you something. AEW Dark Legend of AR Fox, he got a job. So anything's possible. All right. Y'all boy, Thick Boy. Did I talk about Thick Boy already? I think I did. I think I talked about Thick Boy already. Apparently, WWE is talking about bringing in Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona. WWE's doing nothing but signing bums, though. They're not doing nothing but signing dweebs. Matt Cardona is cool and all, but he's a dweeb, and we already know that. And Chelsea Green's a spaz, so I have no interest in either one of them really. My interest in either one of them is limited. Chelsea Green is just not interesting. She's cute and all, but she's just not interesting. She's bland in terms of personality. Matt is fun. Matt's at least fun, and she can be fun with him. Like when Matt is doing some, like he was at GCW, he was really fun because he was doing all the WWE shit, like dressing like the Macho Man and dressing like Mr. McMahon. Like it was fun shit, you know. But I don't think we need them. You know, we don't need to bring those people back. What do we need them for? Like, what do we need Matt Cardona for? To do what? You know, how many more 36-year-olds do you need, Triple H? Fuck. You're gonna sign everybody that's between the ages of 34 and 38? You're gonna bring them back? Like, no, we don't need that. You don't need. Look, I would rather have Cardona than Gargano if given the choice. But Gargano is at least a fresh face on the roster. Fucking Zack Ryder's been there for 15 years already. You know, He ain't been gone that long. Yeah, the big WrestleMania money match, Matt Cardona versus Dominic Mysterio. You know, Jesus H. I can understand it wanted to load up your women's roster, so you want to bring in Chelsea Green. I still wouldn't do that, but I understand it. Matt Cardona, though, I don't get that one at all. You have more than enough mid card guys. You have too many mid card guys. You know, I hope he got a plan. To be quite honest, he could probably rebuild a tag team division based off of how many people he got on the roster at this right now. There's more than enough women, especially those who aren't ready, who need to get out of NXT like Indy Hartwell, that you could probably form tag teams. You know, team them up with somebody who's already on the roster who's just not doing anything. You know, team them up with somebody another person who's coming up from NXT who's not doing anything. You can start a division off of the people who are extra, you know, and then you start working some of them in. But you got to stop signing people. He signed too many people, you know. And they broke NXT with the NXT UK stuff. They broke that system. That system is broken now. Oh yeah, Jonah. Oh God, he's nowhere near ready. He's just weak. He's a weak fucking guy, man. He's weak as fuck. And I don't know what more. He claimed to be war ready. I don't think so. You know, he come across more like Switzerland to me. I don't know. He's like a vegetarian Godzilla. I don't like that guy. No, I'm not a fan. You know, I'm not a fan of that guy. You know, he's a big dude. He can do all this stuff. I remember when people used to call him fake ass Jeff Cobb. Remember people used to call him that? When he first popped up, nobody really knew who he was outside of his native country and maybe a little bit in Europe. They was calling him fake ass Jeff Cobb because everybody thought WWE wanted Jeff Cobb, couldn't get him, so they took Bronson Reed instead. I remember that. I remember that whole thing. And then when he got fired, he became oh, I can't believe you fired that guy. He was so good. Tiffany Stratton is still showing off her new titties. She's supposed to be coming back soon. But she had an injury and then she went and got new titties. Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't like I don't like Thick Boy. Not a fan. That's the same thing. That's how I feel about Tegan Knox too. Like I already wasn't a fan of Tegan Knox. I already wasn't a fan. But then when she dissed NXT 2.0, I was like, whoa, that's just sour grapes, you know? You didn't spend enough time on the NXT roster to be able to talk about anybody. Well, you spent time there, but you were injured most of the time. You know, you don't have the stuff to be dissing people. And to be quite honest, I know she's probably going to be the fifth member of that team. People think it's going to be Alexa Bliss or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Tegan fucking Knox. And I'm not looking forward to that. That's not going to be fun. It ain't going to be Naomi or Sasha Banks or nothing like that. It's probably going to be fucking Tegan Knox, man. The girl with the shiniest wizard and the most boringest everything else. Your wizard might be shiny as hell, but everything else is boring as shit. Bringing Chelsea Green in as a babyface is foolish. I wouldn't do that. She's a heel. And who else would you put on that team, on Bianca's team? Dana Brooke? I mean, what the fuck? I don't know. So I would imagine it had to be somebody they're going to pull in. Somebody who knows Dakota Kai. So it'd probably be Tegan Knox. And they're going to bury us in NXT lore for the next week. This shit going to be the shits, bro. I'm already pissing myself off on something that hasn't happened yet. But something in my bones just keeps saying Tegan Knox is coming. Tegan Knox is coming. It's breathing on the back of my neck. Like, when Johnny Gargano came in there, I was like, oh, when's his wife coming? And it just started on the back of my neck. She's going to be there. She's going to be there. And then she showed up. So now I got it like right in it's like a crick in my neck where Tegan Knox is like, he's going to say Tegan Knox. He's going to say I'm like, no, Tegan Knox. I don't want that. She's the girl version of Johnny Gargano. I don't want her on this roster. She sucks. But he gonna bring her back. I can see it coming. Good Lord. I see it coming. I would hope it would be somebody like Saray or something like that, but it's gonna be like Tegan Knox or some shit. It's gonna suck ass, dog. Who else could it possibly be? Like Doudrop? Why would Doudrop be a babyface all of a sudden? Oh yeah, Tegan Knox. Oh boy. Oh, you ain't missed nothing. Because all she do is get hurt. No, she does literally nothing except look weird and dress up like Captain Marvel. If it was, if it's Beth Phoenix, that would be fun. But why would Beth Phoenix want to get into a War Games match? I mean, I know to get at Rhea Ripley, but if she's not wrestling regular matches, why a War Games match? Maybe Lita? Maybe Lita would want to do it. That would be nice. But I've already heard the Bloodline is the main event. So do you want to bring in, well, I guess you could bring in a female legend and she can still not main event the show. So that means that the women's War Games match is going to open the show, which is guaranteed. And I'm pretty sure that was going to happen anyway. Have I heard that Lacey Evans is getting repackaged again? Good Lord. I'm not surprised. Triple H is just going to go and change everything, man. Ray is injured. Yeah, Ray's injured. They go excuse me. They're gonna try to get Kevin Owens in there. Kevin Owens is injured too, but it's not that bad. So they probably gonna put him in there. In order to, and they probably limit his interaction. But they want to tell that story with him and Sami Zayn in that match. So they definitely want to get that out. So I don't know. But they definitely want Kevin Owens in that match, and I can tell it already. Cody's not ready. Cody's not ready to come back yet. And they're not going to blow Cody on a goddamn War Games match. They're going to save it for the Royal Rumble. I would guess it's Kevin Owens, and they probably working a lot of this injury stuff so it'd be a surprise when he pops up. I would keep it to the night of. Well, the thing on the return on that investment is that they kept him away from AEW. He got to work a main event at WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's a pretty well talked about event. It's a big deal. Did he sell that back in T-shirts? Probably not. I don't think so. And then he fell off a cliff after that. But I'm thinking Triple H is going to got something planned for Kevin Owens in the future. That's what I'm thinking. He's one of his favorite guys. I definitely think that Kevin Owens is going to be mixing it up with world champions and shit about this time next year. It's going to be like Kevin Owens and Cody in a run, you know. And then I'll definitely be there to criticize that. Not that I hate Cody or anything like that. I do hate Kevin Owens, though. Bubba Ray Owens, King Kong Owens, One Man Gang Owens. Oh, yeah. I'm already mentally prepared for how shitty Triple H is going to book the champions. Because I'm guarantee you Kevin Owens is going to get that belt. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'm going to be very upset. Gargano, I'm not entirely sure he's going to get there. Kevin Owens, yeah. Triple H is going to give it to him. I'm pretty sure within the next 2 years, Kevin Owens is going to be WWE champion. And it's going to be fucking shitty. Shitty. Now, his performances might be fine, but I gotta tell you, maybe if he was, I would have been okay with Kevin Owens becoming world champion. If it was right after he beat Cena, I'd have been like, okay, maybe this guy, we want to super push him. And then but they made him the Intercontinental Champion instead. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to complain about that. But he's already getting super pushed, so Might as well put the belt on him, but they did it with Sheamus. So I was kind of like, well, maybe he's going to win the title then. He didn't win it then. So that's kind of it. Oh, Funkasaurus Owens. That's a good one. Brontosaurus Owens. Shirt and shorts, basketball shorts. Jesus H. Ugh. What a mess. What a mess. He's gonna be out on the interview circuit wearing sweats like fucking the coach of New England. Go like an absolute slob. Or he could be wearing a shirt with no tie. Because that seems like something he would do. You know. Hopefully his wife starts to dress him and he can actually look presentable in public as a guy who is supposed to be representing WWE. Hopefully. But we don't know. So we'll have to see. All right. 2 hours and 26 minutes. It's not too bad. We got through all of the things I wanted to talk about. I absolutely had fun here, but I am tired. Thank you guys for your time. Like, share, subscribe for if you're not already sharing and subscribing. I'll talk to you guys later. I'll be back live on Sunday. I haven't had a central theme for Sunday's show yet. I will be keeping an eye on when we're supposed to be doing Thriller, because I think we're supposed to be doing Thriller sometime soon. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.